If you don't have a great list and you do the automation, you're not going to get results.
You got to keep it short and sweet, and you got to give people a reason to respond because everyone's so busy. Nobody wants to read mountains of text.
Every week we have a new customer come in, and this is the highest ever recorded response. What are some of the things you're excited about trying to further improve your cold outreach process?
The next thing I'm interested in is doing it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sales Robot Customer of the Week, a new show where we interview the best Sales Robot customers and go deep into their campaigns with tips around targeting, messaging, and personalization tactics so that you can take away something and implement in your cold outreach starting tomorrow. Today on the show, we have Joanna, who's a regional manager at Roji. Welcome to the show, Joanna.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here. Pleasure.
Awesome. So let's get right into it. What does your business do and how do you make money?
For sure. Okay. So I'm working for Roji, as you mentioned, and Roji is a technology company, and we specialize in providing technology for the upstream oil and gas industry. And what we do is develop this technology that's used for drilling wells. And so it's highly specialized, and there's very kind of like a specialized target audience, let's say, that we talk to. So yeah, that's how we make money. We also branch into, as we work in the energy sector, we branch into geothermal and other green energies too. So wherever they're drilling wells, really.
Awesome. That's a very nice niche audience to go after, and that probably the product obviously I think has to be super specialized to deal with these kinds of workflows. Okay, so let's get into the campaign. I'll not bury the lead. So what happened is we actually invited Joanna for a different campaign, but in the meantime, she ran another campaign that performed even better with a leading. So we do this every week. By the way, every week we have a new customer come in, and this is the highest ever recorded response. By the way, so again, kudos on that. So this one has a 87.5% reply rate, which is phenomenal, right? So I'll not bury the lead. This is the campaign. This one, I think you started about 22 days ago. And again, phenomenal 87.5% reply rate and a 50% request acceptance rate. So first of all, like congrats on the campaign.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
So let's get into it. Do you remember what this campaign was about? Who were you targeting?
Yes, absolutely. So it's a product that we don't promote very much in Europe. And so I really wanted to test this out in SalesRobot to see how it would perform and what our response rate would be just to people who've never heard of us, really. Yeah, so
Uh,
that's
so
what that was about. And sort of focused on talking to people about what kind of issues they might be facing related to with smell data. So issues with like data connectivity, sort of server outages, not receiving the data, streaming the data, this kind of thing. Really starting with a question. Do and getting the ball rolling and seeing how many people are experiencing these issues and giving them an opening to talk to me.
Yeah, I think even before you do that, I would love to point out a couple of things that you've done that actually improve your conversion rates a lot.
Sure.
Step one, viewing their profile sends them a notification like Joanna viewed your profile, so it makes it much more likely that they think there's no automation involved, right? They'll think you're actually going and doing this. And then a day later, if they post, you're liking their most recent post. And then this is where your copywriting comes in. And I think it's a brilliant bit of copy because it's so simple, right? It's hard to make something so simple and so straightforward, right? So
Yes.
what you're doing is step number one, like in sentence number one, you're saying almost the reason for reaching out. You notice that this person works with drilling operations, and then you have a question, which is what you're.
Exactly. And I think this is one of the keys, at least I found. You got to keep it short and sweet, and you got to give people a reason to respond because everyone's so busy. Nobody wants to read mountains of text.
Perfect. No, that shows up in our chances of response indicator as well because the text is super readable. There's a question in there. You're personalizing. The word count is correct, right? Between 15 to 50 words. So this is brilliant. Okay. So let's say they connect. What are you saying in the first message after connection?
Yeah. So essentially, I wanted a way to follow up that wasn't repeating exactly what I said, but it was kind of a nudge in case they hadn't responded to my previous message.
Okay. So it's essentially the same message, but rephrased, right?
Exactly.
Got it. Makes sense. Yeah. Okay. And then if they don't respond to this one, you're following up 2 days later. Talk me through this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so here I'm even recognizing, like, oh, hey, I guess you haven't seen my previous messages because maybe even they did see them, but they got distracted. They were busy. We all do it.
Mm,
So I just wanted to sort of reiterate, I'm here. I use their first name as well to make it personal. And then I'm asking them kind of a question that's about improvement rather than, no, you, what kind of issues are you facing, which is quite open.
right.
Yeah.
Right. No, I like this one because it becomes almost like a prioritization question, right? Because all of us are facing a lot of challenges in our day jobs, but not everything is equally important, right? So, what you're forcing them to do with this message is just say yes or no. Is this important right now or no? Which is either response is fine, but you get some kind of response.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, perfect. And then finally, the last message 3 days later. This is where you're going in for a little bit of a
Yeah,
twist, right?
absolutely. So here I'm basically I'm starting to introduce myself a little more and tell them I'm working for this company, giving them the reason why I'm
Yeah.
actually reaching out in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. Because a lot of times people feel like, why is this person asking me this, right? So you're giving them that why.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think a large proportion of the people had already responded by this point, which was great. So we were always having like conversations about what kind of challenges that they were seeing in this space. And he gave me some insight. So this tool was really great for that kind of initial conversation point.
Right. No, no, absolutely. Because I can see that most of your responses are actually coming before this one, right? So you're actually, you're getting 90% of your responses before the person even gets to step 6. So that goes to show you that the messaging is strong and the targeting is right. That really converts. Awesome. No, this is great. Do you remember if you ended up producing some pipeline from this, or what was the campaign like dollar wise?
So I was learning about, who our competitors were out there, what kind of additional challenges people were facing that we weren't sort of aware of. And so this was all very insightful. And I made some really valuable connections, actually. And people were like giving me advice. It was fantastic. Like, oh, you should talk to this person.
Yeah.
So it didn't go to direct pipeline, but it was really useful.
Yeah, it opens up a lot of doors sometimes. That's what I've realized. Like people just like helping you if they see that you're being genuine, right? You're just trying to have a conversation. A lot of times, even if they're not the right person, they'll introduce you. Okay, I may not be the right person, but this person is great. So just reach out to them or something like that. So it does open doors.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think sometimes it's like, it's something you'll remember further down the line. Like, let's say, I don't know, in 6 months' time, you really need to talk to somebody about this, and they'll remember, hey, Joanna, talk to me about this.
I call it the zone of consideration because not everybody is in a buying cycle at any given point of time, right? So, what you need to be in the zone of consideration so that when they are actually thinking of making a buying decision, you're in the top 3, right? Because if you're in the top 3, you have a shot, right? Versus you just not appearing on their radar, right? Which means they completely miss out.
Absolutely. And I think on this one, what was good, which I think, because this was after a few iterations, I'd created this campaign, I spaced things out a little bit more. So it looked a little bit more fluid. So before, it looked like it goes to the profile page, checks people out, looks like, you've done your research, connects with people, then you follow up with that. So I left a space, maybe even, a day or 2 days to give people time to follow up. I mean, some people don't check LinkedIn very often. So I think that was also good because it feels less pushy.
Yep. No, definitely. I think, especially with these smaller campaigns, because you only had about 70 leads in there. So, you weren't in a hurry anyway because every day it reaches out to about 40 or 50. So you have the luxury of spacing it out because it's not too many leads in there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Perfect. So that is all the questions I had on the campaign. So now let's get into your journey a little bit. What are some of the mistakes you made when you first started doing cold outreach?
Okay. So, well, when I first started, so I got the trial version, of course, first, and I was playing with everything. And the first thing I did was to use the sort of sales navigator using the filter search. And I searched on job title because I thought, okay, I want people working, wells, of course, like well engineers or, geologists, well site geologists and operations geologists. So I'd put these in the title and do a filter, and then I would check the first few to see if, you know, these people would be interested. great. And then I ran the campaign, and then I would see that a lot of people were not relevant at all in that search filter. And then I thought, why is this, why is this happening? And I saw that like there's this trend where people, instead of their title, they put what they offer, what they actually do. Like, I help connect people. That's not a job title. So if you had something like, I help people drill better wells, maybe it would pick you up. But in many cases, it wasn't. It was picking up, people who work in operations, but, in manufacturing industry, or, something completely wrong, let's say. Yeah. So that was the first mistake I made. And I learned from it.
Yeah. That's a pretty common one because I think what happens with LinkedIn's Sales Navigator is that it looks at keywords anywhere. Like, let me give you an example. So
Sure.
even with this campaign that you did, which is a very targeted campaign, by the way, there is the way it pulls your data is sometimes incorrect. So what will happen is, since you have WITSML real time, it will pull in profiles that have either real or time or WITSML anywhere in the profile.
Yeah.
So that's where it goes awry because it doesn't pick out the right titles, or picks out random keywords, and just messes it up. Like, just yesterday I was talking to a customer who targets rail car manufacturers, right?
Right.
And that's a niche industry, right? So he put in rail car manufacturing management. So it was pulling out people who had either manufacturing or management anywhere in their title and nothing to do with rail cars. It's like, this is all junk. I was like, yeah, because it works in a very particular way and you have to get it right. So yeah, definitely alerting.
Yes. No, I mean, it was good. It's good to learn though, how this is impacting your search, but also the human side of it is like, how are we filling out certain fields
Yeah.
in LinkedIn itself, because that's going to impact it too. Like, if your region is off, or if your industry is off, or size of company, or however you're doing your filter, it's quite interesting, because there are the industry also specifications. Sometimes they're bringing in companies that are not actually in the industry that they say they are. So yeah,
Yeah.
lots of little things to learn.
Yeah, it's a problem, and I think somebody will build a very interesting business just fixing this problem because it's an extremely real problem, right? Like, what I would love is almost like an AI agent where you just tell it, okay, this is what my product is, this is who I want, just bring me 1,000 good fit leads, and that's it, right? That's what a magic experience would look like. So definitely something that we are also excited about. Maybe we'll build it because I've had so many people saying the same thing that you're telling me, which is the list is the problem. And it impacts us as well because if you don't have a great list and you do the automation, you're not going to get results, right? So for us, it's also a bit of a vested interest. Awesome. On to my final question then. What are some of the things you're excited about trying to further improve your cold outreach process?
Okay, well, I think there's quite a lot of things I haven't tried yet, but the next thing I'm interested in is doing an email campaign. So we do collect a lot of information from our webinar series. So we're talking to about our products and what's new and how to use it and things like that. And we have like a lot of people that we could be talking to on a more regular basis. And I think these email campaigns can be quite useful for that. So I'm excited to learn how that works and do my first campaign.
Yeah, that should be great because if they've already attended a webinar or even signed up, then they're showing some degree of intent for learning more. Awesome, Joanna. So that is all the time we have today. Thank you so much for making the time and sharing your insights with us. I learned a lot, and I hope the audience takes away something as well.
Sure. No, it was a pleasure. Thanks for having me here.
All right, take care now. Bye bye.
Bye.